संस्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। So we were studying the 7th chapter of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, where we are in that section where we find that Bhagavan is speaking of the 4 class of devotees: Artha, Jigyashu, Artharthi and Jnani. And he has also indicated that the Jnani is the best among them all. He is the one who is having that Eka Bhakti. He is always in constant communion with the Divine. So whenever we speak of constant communion with the Divine, we generally have that idea. What's the idea? That most probably he has forsaken all his responsibilities and duties and is always in meditation. Just to sustain his body, most probably he comes out of his meditation, just grab a few morsels of his food and takes care of his basic needs to just sustain his body, and again he goes deep into his meditation so that he can have an unbroken, continuous association with the Divine. So that's the general idea we have when we say that Eka Bhakti. But in Bhagavad Gita, if we study it thoroughly, between the lines, we will find that Bhagavan actually is indicating a 24/7 spirituality in a different perspective. What's that? That if our scriptures say that if it is God who is being projected as the universe, it is the Divine which is appearing as this world of name and form, then so we cannot deny this existence as something unreal. As world it is unreal, but as the Lord it is as real. We generally quote that oft quoted that line of Bhagavad Pada Shankaracharya. We very generally quote it. What's that? Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya. But it is just a phrase. It doesn't end there. The next phrase is very important. And as we always are not giving any importance to that next phrase, that all the confusion happens. What's that? Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. And then the next line is Jiva Brahmaiva na Aparaha. This is very important. That the Jiva is Brahma. It is not that he is just an imagination, that he is nothing. Only Brahman exists. You close your eyes, you realize Brahman, open your eyes, what you see is just an hallucination. No. It is something appearing as something. I don't know why it is appearing as something. That's God's Leela, his play. That's the ignorance, which even Bhagavad Gita is speaking of as Guna Maya. But if I am aware of the fact that this projection is also the Divine, then the spirituality becomes not a particular practice. It becomes a shift in our paradigm. It becomes a shift in our orientation. That when I am closing my eyes and meditating on the Lord, of course I am coming with the Divine. But when I come out of my meditation, as per my responsibilities, as per the state of life in which I am, I have to interact with the world. It doesn't mean that my secular life and spiritual life has to be cut off into a watertight compartment. No need. The moment I come out of my meditation, if I am aware of the fact that it is the Lord who is appearing as this world, as this universe. And it is He who is in each and every speck of the dust of this universe. What to speak of the grandeurs of great persons? Because not only in them, He is in each and every speck of dust of this universe. So my interaction with the world is actually interaction with the divine in a different form. When I go beyond my mind and senses, I interact with the divine as the conscious principle alone. And when I am interacting through the mind and senses to the world, it is the same conscious principle which is appearing as the world of name and form, just the way the sunlight, when passes through the prism, appears to be a spectrum of so many colors. It's the same sunlight. So when the conscious principle associates with the mind and the body, is the same conscious principle which is appearing as this world of name and form. And now I know I'm interacting with the divine, the same divine, in a different mode, nothing else. So now the spirituality becomes 24/7. Whether I am meditating, whether I am out of my meditation, irrespective of the fact, I am in continuous communion with the divine. So this idea, unless we have in our mind, we can never understand the idea of Eka Bhakti, of the Jnani. So that's a different class of devotee who has realized that it is the divine and divine alone, who is both the noumenon as well as the phenomenon. In two different aspects, as Sri Ramakrishna used to say, the same snake, when it has coiled itself and lying somewhere motionless, it is the same snake which is wriggling and moving. The same snake. In potential form, it is just lying motionless. It has the capacity to find expression as motion, as Shakti. That's why he used to say Brahma Shakti Abhed. It's the same thing. So unless we realize that, we will be compartmentalizing the ultimate reality and denying a part of the reality and try to imprison the reality into one partial aspect of its manifestation. And that's the thing, if we don't keep in our mind, we will never understand that Eka Bhakti, what it means. So now we will proceed to the verses where we find Bhagavan is saying the other three, Artha, Jigyashu, Artharthi. They are also to be considered as devotees. The devotion is not that superlative one, but they are also the devotees. And what's the nature of the devotion is, that he will be describing in the verses which we are going to study today. That why do all not realize that the Lord alone is everything? This is the truth. But the truth we don't realize why? Because our mind is biased by the desires. We can never realize the truth if our mind is biased because of the various desires. Before proceeding into the verse, that how our vision of the truth gets obliterated, there's a nice anecdote, there's a nice way of looking at it in Vedanta. What they say? That suppose there is a stump lying at the corner of a park, and in the twilight hours, in the dark twilight hours, from a distance. Now, as per our bias, we will be viewing it differently. It is actually just a stump of a tree. The tree has fallen, most probably in the storm. It was an old tree, and only the stump is there. There's a dead stump is there. From a distance, a thief is running from the police. He's scared of the police that he may be caught. So from a distance in the twilight hours, he sees the stump as the police. He's scared very much. Oh, the police is there. The police who is in search of the thief, from a distance who is in search of the thief, sees it as the thief. A small child who was playing in the park, now it's evening, he has to go back to his house. He knows the mother is waiting somewhere in the corner of the park. So from a distance, the child sees the stump as the mother. And the mother who is waiting for the child to come back from his play, from a distance think it's the child. A lover came to meet his beloved in the park. From a distance he thinks it's his lover or her lover. So now this is a wonderful anecdote which the Vedanta is placing, that what happens? The truth gets obliterated. We can just, because of our bias, we can never see the truth as it is. The truth is, this world is the Lord and Lord alone, Brahman alone. But the moment, because of our ignorance, we get bound with the egoism, and there are innumerable desires which gets hooked to that sense of ego, which we develop because of our ignorance. It gets hooked to it, and that creates all the bias. With all those bias, now our vision gets obliterated. I cannot see the truth as it is. And for such a person, even when he is believing in the divine, the God is just a means to pray for all the desires which he has in this world of ignorance. And that's the idea which will be spoken of in the 20th verse. What he's saying? Kamaistai ritagyanaha prapadyante anya devataha tang niyamam asthaya prakritya niyama swaya. So here what he's saying, others, those who are not the jnani, that is supreme devotees, the superlative ones. Apart from that, the others, they are also devotees. They have a faith in the spiritual dimension of existence. They have faith in the Lord. But that faith just enables, that motivates them to go after the chase after the desires, and they make the divine just as a means. The world is the end for them. So others again, because they lack discrimination, ritagyana, that the knowledge as such, ritagyana, the knowledge of the reality has been taken away because of ignorance. So rita means to take away. What? The jnana, whose knowledge has been deprived, and that knowledge speaks of the discrimination. He has been deprived from that. So he doesn't have that knowledge of the totality as a whole. It has got distorted by his biases. That's the meaning of the word ritagyana. Such a person, now he gets bound by all these desires which emanates from the ego. And what are these desires? Tai. He is not describing all the desires. That by this or that desire. Constantly we will find that our mind is chasing after this or that. Throughout our day, we will find it is the play of the mind and mind alone. That we give so much importance to our physical existence. We have to have a nice house, we have to have all the facilities, but we forget that 90% of the time we will be spending with our mind, and that mind is creating a havoc. Like a monkey, it is constantly jumping from one thought to other, one desire to other. So that's the idea of tai, from this and that. So such a person is constantly there, inflicted by these desires. And following this and following those desires, constantly we are resorting to various modes of action. If it is a spiritual thing, of course we are praying to God. But apart from that, all the actions, if I want to be a doctor, there is a particular course I have to study. If I have to be a businessman, I have to resort to a particular skills, I have to develop that particular skill. So for each desire, there is a particular mode. And we resort to all those modes to reach to that destination. So all the rites doesn't mean only the so-called religious rites with which I am trying to attain certain goal. In everything in this life, whatever we're doing can be considered as rites, because following those we are going to attain our goal. So following all those rites, niyama asthaya, all those niyama, so they are trying to fulfill their the desires, and for that they devote themselves to other gods. Prapadyante anya devataha. Just as in Hinduism, we find there is ideas of so many gods and goddesses. But the basic idea is they are the manifestation of the ultimate reality. So it is not something polytheism. That polytheism means believing in many gods. It is actually pluralism. What's the idea? That the same divinity is appearing as in so many forms. But they are all the partial manifestations. As per my desire, I resort to the worship of a particular deity, knowing well that this is the deity who is capable of fulfilling my specific desire. There's a funny story in the life of Ramakrishna, that he was passing through, he was just traveling in a bullock cart, and he was passing through a place which is infested with the dacoits. It was a very ill-famed place, that now and then these dacoits will attack the travelers. And as it was quite dark, it was the twilight hours, or the evening has set in, and he was passing. Sri Ramakrishna, very funny, in a very funny way, he's saying that I started taking the name of all the gods. Now I was chanting the name of Durga. Next moment I was chanting the name of Kali, and then Krishna, Shiva, none left. I just started repeating. And then very jokingly he says, I don't know which one will actually be effective, because each god has a specific power to grant you the boon. So in this situation, when I may be infested with a dacoit, that who is going to save me, I am not sure about it. So I was just repeating the name of all the lords. So what's the idea? This, though he's making a fun out of it, the idea is for a specific desire, the specific deities, specific rites, and we find the 99% of the Hindus, the so-called Sanatanis, whereas now they say they were Sanatana, whatever it may be, for them religion is there. That's what Bhagavan is saying. Then they never go beyond that. So you will find a very interesting thing. So in other religions, there is a congregational prayer, that they are all together, the same thing they are praying. All are praying the same namaz, they are all chanting. In the church you go, the same prayer. They are all chanting together. But if you go to Kumbh Mela, this going on, they say it is the world's largest religious congregation. But very interesting. Even the husband and the wife have different rites. There's no two person you will find doing the same thing. They're all having their different way of relating to the divine, and many sometimes say that's the cause of so much of what you say, this disharmony among, that we never can unite. But we will be doing a big mistake if we really try to unite that huge crowd, because the basic idea of the Vedic religion, that we will be actually compromising with. What's the basic idea? It's a wonderful idea. It is called Aham Graha Upasana, that the divine is one, but we relate to the divine as per our way of life, as per our thinking, as per our mentality. So what's that? Mentality that very nicely our Swami Bhuteshananda ji used to say. What's that? Suppose a doctor after his practice returns back to his house, and he has a few children, 4 or 5 children he has. Now he opens his coat, he keeps the stethoscope, opens his shoes, and all the children come running. Some will take the stethoscope, put it on his ears, and go and put the stethoscope in every family member's chest, as if he's the doctor. He's feigning as the doctor. And some other child will come and wear the white coat, and he also does the same thing. He's moving around the house, feeling as if I am the doctor just by wearing that white coat. And someone will wear the shoes. That's very common. You will find the children never wear their own shoes. Whenever they get chance, they will wear the shoes of their parents, the elders, and moving around. When the father sees that, he's happy. Why he's happy? It's all childish acts. He knows it's a very childish act. But when he sees all of them doing all those challenges, he's very happy. He's happy because he knows that though these acts are childish, but beyond that act, everyone has the motivation that one day, like our father, I also have to be a very reputed doctor. The acts are very childish, but behind that motivation is working. This is very important. So when you go to Kumbh Mela and see this totally disorganized crowd, that no one is doing the same thing, but whatever they're doing, whatever rites they're following, somehow they feel, I am relating to the divine, and that's what I think as spirituality at present. Maybe it's the fulfillment of certain desire. Okay, you need not disturb his faith. Don't say that this is something, a basic practice. Through this, the motivation, that is all childish acts. Yes, for one who has outgrown all this, it may act as childish act, but that person has to grow through that. I cannot say the small child that leave all this nonsense and today you start studying the book of the medical science to be a doctor. I cannot say that. He has to grow in his own pace. This motivation will work in time. Of course, he will be resorting to the proper means. But today this motivation is helping him to grow out of this childish, all these acts, and then resort to the real act which will make him a reputed doctor. Isn't it? So that's the thing. So this is quite okay. Wherever he is, whatever he is, the Lord is accepting that. It's quite good. Start with that. It may appear to be mere childish, but that doesn't mean we should say, you stop this. You cannot make a small child, as Swamiji in one of his lectures saying, 100 miles. He will die. Let him grow in his own pace, and there we'll find this wonderful idea of this Vedic religion. It is accepting everyone wherever you are, and you can practice everything. With that, you can reach to that ultimate goal. So what is important is that what faith you have, hold on to the ideal with whatever belief you have. Know it for certain. This faith will enable you to evolve gradually. And that's what this verse is also saying. That others, again, deprived of discrimination, though they don't have that wisdom, but they need not be discouraged for what they're doing. By this or that desire, they are all as if afflicted by so many desires. But they have the belief in the divine and following particular rites, which from the ultimate point of view may appear childish. But the Lord is saying it's quite okay. With that, this led by their own nature, they are actually worshipping me. So, and this is very important. The Lord has created this universe in such a way that whatever you intensely desire for, it will be fulfilled. The nature is actually our slave if we know to really ask intently. There's a very nice parable of Sri Ramakrishna in the Gospel. What's that? That's how the prayer works. The entire nature becomes your slave. The entire nature will conspire to fulfill your desire. That it's the plan of the universe. It's the rhythm. Once the divinity finds expression as this universe, it follows certain laws. For the ultimate reality, there is no laws. But when it finds expression as the universe, it follows certain laws. So one such law is that whatever you are intensely desiring for, the entire nature will conspire to make that desire successful. So there's a nice parable of Sri Ramakrishna that a person's child was bedridden because of some serious illness. He was almost going to die. And this child started praying, this father started praying intensely. He was intensely praying, "Oh Lord, please save my child. Please give certain means, certain means by which I can save this child." And then he hears the divine voice. What's the divine voice? That this, I am speaking of certain means. What's the mean? That when a particular star is on the ascendant, the Swati Nakshatra, it is on the ascendant, it is visible on the sky, that's the time it should rain. And when it rains, that rain should fall on the skull of some dead person, the skull is lying somewhere, it should fall on that, and that should somehow get mixed with the venom of a poisonous snake, of a venomous snake. That water should be diluted with that, and that water, if you feed your child, he will be cured. There are so many things has to coincide. And from where he is going to get that snake poison? But he started intensely praying, "Oh God, as you have told the means, please provide me with the means." And then this Swati, this constellation, was ascendant on the sky. He started praying, "Oh Lord, please give the rain." After some time, he suddenly saw, it was a clear sky. Suddenly he saw the clouds, and then it started raining. And then he ran to a forest area, just in the outskirts of the village. And he was praying intensely, and he really saw some skull there, lying there, skull. And it was already full with that rain water. But where to get that venom? The snake venom. Now suddenly he saw a frog limping, just coming. And it was just about to, as if that you sip the water from the skull, which was full of water. From nowhere, a snake was crawling. It came near, and it was about to devour that frog. But the frog sensed that I am in danger, and the moment the snake was about to inflict that venom on that frog, it jumped, and that's how the snake missed its bite, and the venom fell into the water in the skull. And now the man was extremely happy. He went with that water, fed the child, he was cured. So it's a parable. But what's the idea behind it? That if you really pray intently and know it for certain, the entire nature will conspire to make your desire fulfill. That's the plan of the universe. The Lord has planned it in such a way. You are the one who is the master of the nature. You may say, is it? In life it never happens. I wanted to be doctor, I couldn't be the doctor. There's a nice book, The Secret, very nicely written. They say, what happened? Though I was constantly, when anyone asked me what you want, I was saying I want to be a doctor. Most probably I really wanted. But if I see in retrospect, what will I find? That though I was thinking that I want to become a doctor, but constantly I will find my mind was filled with that uncertainty. Can I become? Most probably I won't be able to compete. I won't be successful in that competitive exam. And I won't get the chance to get admitted. That was the thought which was actually predominant in our mind. Though I was saying I want to be a doctor, that I most probably won't succeed. That fear was actually constantly inflicting my mind, and that has become successful. Very nicely you will find. And then sometimes you will find just a person who he's a very poor person. He has a strong determination to prosper, to financially prosper in life. And then suddenly you find all the factors start coinciding in such a way that he really finds favorable conditions and he becomes extremely rich. And after becoming rich, suddenly we find he has started losing his wealth. What happens? When he was poor, there was no distraction. There was nothing to lose. His total focus was that, yes, I have to be rich. I have to be rich. Now, when he is really rich, now a part of the mind is constantly thinking, somehow I may lose the wealth. Everything will be gone. And that becomes reality. So if we can really intently, with full faith, with full devotion, pray for something without that fear, that I have prayed to the Lord, God is there to provide that means to me, and I have no doubt in it. The prayer is going to work. You will find in the Bible, when Jesus was doing all those miracles, all were praising Jesus. Jesus again and again was saying one sentence: it is a faith that has healed him. It's not me. It is a faith. That is very important. That faith. With the faith, you will find so many things happen. That Sri Ramakrishna, his stories are very interesting. That a person, because of the shipwreck, what happened? A person somehow, all died. A person somehow could cross across barrier, that wave barrier, and reach the shore of a land. And that was actually the Lanka, Ravana's Lanka. Ravana has already died. Vibhishana was the king that time. But after all, it was the kingdom of the Rakshasas, who do feed on human flesh. Seeing a human being on the bank, on the shore of this ocean, the other Rakshasas were delighted. Oh, here there is something to devour. And Vibhishana got the news. He came running. He desisted all from taking that person as a prey. And he, instead of having any such sense of greed, suddenly also there's a wonderful transformation. He's full of devotion. What's the devotion? What's the reason? Oh, he is the one who is having the form of same human form of my Ishta, Rama. The Rama was a human being. This is a human being. Just see how they relate. So it reminded him of his Ishta. He was full of devotion. He's the same human form of Lord Rama. And now with respect, he just treated him. And now he wanted that he should go back to his land. And now what Vibhishana did? He wrote something in a leaf and folded it and gave it to that person and told, just have faith. Hold on to this leaf but never open. Just walk over the ocean, you will cross the ocean. But don't open the leaf. And the man found really he was walking over the ocean. He was walking. And suddenly he became curious. When he was on the mid of the ocean, he became curious. What is there in the paper that is making me walk? And then he couldn't resist his curiosity. He opened. And he saw in the leaf just the name of Rama was written. Rama, nothing else. And he thought, what? Just this Rama is written, I am walking. The moment the doubt came, he drowned. So this story actually says that what faith actually means. The moment the doubt comes, when you come inside, you will find the same thing. That these stories are so common in all the traditions. There's another very nice story that a milkmaid, a young girl, she used to have to every day cross the river to come to the other shore where one pandit, one scholar resided, and he used to have these scriptural classes, and many of his disciples used to attend. He will teach Sanskrit grammar, he will teach the scriptures. And when this milkmaid generally used to be quite late, sometimes he used to get delayed. So one day such class was going on, and this young girl, she arrived, and it was quite late. And the pandit naturally the class got interrupted. He asked, how come you are so late? And this milkmaid replied that the boatman, he was not available. He delayed. So what can I do? I have to cross the river. And I had to wait for him. So that's how I got delayed. And then this pandit jokingly, what he told? What? A devotee, just by taking the name of Hari, crosses the ocean of this samsara, and you just cannot cross the river. So that's what he joked. But this guileless milkmaid, this young girl, he thought he's a pandit, he's a scholar with so many disciples. What he says must be true. That by taking the name of the Lord, by taking the name of Hari, I can cross the river. Now from next day, the milkmaid was always in time. So a few days went by, and now the pandit thought, what happened? Previously, now and then she used to get delayed, and today, for a few days I am finding she is in time. So he asked the milkmaid, that what's the matter? That now every day you are in time? Like, you only just gave me that prescription, the way out. To take the name of Hari, and you can walk over the ocean, a river. So that's what I'm doing. So there is no need for the boat for me anymore. The pandit was really puzzled. He thought, how is it possible? Well, he thought that most probably she is just lying. He said, can you show it to me? Well, yes, of course. And then the pandit followed the milkmaid, went to the bank of the river, and the milkmaid started walking over the river, taking the name of Hari. Pandit was standing on the bank, surprised. She was totally taken by surprise that how is it possible? And milkmaid, seeing that he is yet to walk over the river, she just welcomed her. What? Come, you can also come. Take the name of the Lord and you come. That's what you have told. And now the Pandit, just to experiment whether is it really possible. So you know that the Indian style dhoti you wear. So he pulled up the dhoti while just taking his first step on the river. He pulled up the dhoti and he started drowning. Now this guileless milkmaid, this girl, she smiled, and she, seeing that he's pulling up the dhoti, she told a very interesting thing, that even this wise man, this Pandit, that was a revelation for him, that you will take the name of the Lord and you will pull your dhoti. How can you cross the river? Means you have the doubt that I may drown. That's why you're pulling the dhoti up. My dhoti will get drenched. My dhoti will get wet. So he's pulling the dhoti up and taking the name of the Lord is trying to cross. That speaks of the doubt. Je horiyo bolbe, kaporo gotabe. How can these both go together? So the same stories you will find even in the Bible. The same story, almost same. These so common stories in the culture. You know that one day the disciples of Jesus were waiting in a boat for Jesus to come. They thought that Jesus has went to the nearby village and he will come soon. So they were waiting in the boat. The boat was anchored bit in the waters. So they thought when Jesus comes, we will row the boat to the bank and he will come and board the boat. But suddenly they saw Jesus came to the bank and he didn't stop. He was walking. And those disciples were surprised. How is it possible? So they started doubting whether he's our Jesus, or he's some demigod or some being. So they were a bit scared, a bit afraid. But Jesus told, don't doubt. I am your Lord. Even if you want, you too can walk. No one believed. Only Peter, he had faith. He thought when the Lord is saying, most probably it's true. And he came out of the boat and he really started walking over the water. Seeing this, Jesus said that you can walk. He was walking. And then suddenly, after a few steps, suddenly this doubt came. How is it possible? The moment he thought, how is it possible? He started drowning. When you go out of the class, you will find the previous owner of this house, he was most probably this artist. He painted a lot of pictures. They are still there. That nice picture is still there here, just outside in our dining space. So Jesus came running to save Peter. And while he held his hand, he told, you man of little faith. That faith actually, that if we have faith, know it for certain, the desires are, that's the plan of the Lord. He has, it's not that only for the Gyanis he is there. If with faith, even our desires will be fulfilled, if with faith, that we pray to the Lord in whatever form it may be. He is there to fulfill our desires. That's what these verses are saying. After this 21st verse, the Lord helps those. That's what he is assuring. Those helps who worship the other deities. Why is saying? Yo yang tanum bhaktaha. Sraddhayam. This Sraddha is important again. This faith. Sraddhayam architum ichchati. Tasyang tasya chalang sraddhang tameva vidadhamyaham. In whatsoever form any devotees seeks to worship with Shraddha. This word Shraddha is something very technical. That's faith in the word of Guru and faith in the word of scriptures. Full faith. What it actually means, we can understand with the help of some other example. Just say, I am sick. I go to the doctor. Doctor prescribes me something. And I take the medicine, I get cured. What has happened? I have faith in the doctor. See, I have no knowledge of the medical science. But I have faith, I know that this doctor is the authority. He has studied the medical science thoroughly and he represents that medical science. So whatever medication he gives, I need not know the medical science. I need not go to the doctor and ask, explain me how this everything works. The doctor will say, it's impossible. I have to go through such a course of 7 years, 4 years, and then this as another 3 years I had to gather experience under the guidance of these teachers, professors. So it took such a long time, and you say that before treating you, I have to explain you how the medicine works, how the treatment works. It is impossible. I have to have that faith that he is the authority. I go to him, and whatever medication he gives, that works. The same faith is required in our spiritual life. That if I doubt the guru, the preceptor, that is he a real, genuine person, or is he a hypocrite? I can never progress spiritually. That faith has to be there, that he represents the scriptures. Whatever is written in the scripture, he has practiced. Through practice, he has gone to that realization. And now, I, who am just a novice, have to have faith. Even in our daily, everyday education system, the faith is important. If a small child says that E is equal to MC square, prove it to me. Can I prove it to him? Impossible. First, he has to take it as a working principle, go through all his preliminary education, most probably in the university level. Then that proof is something which he can understand. He can understand how these equations can be proven. But at the beginning, he had taken it as a working principle. He had to have faith. First he says these are all nonsense, then no education is possible. So this Shraddha word is very important. It is this faith, full faith, that I don't know how it works, but it works. So with this, I don't know the procedure, but I don't doubt it. Let me resort what has been mentioned in the scriptures, what a particular authority to whom I have went for a particular result, I have faith in him. Whatever he says, I do it with full faith. Know it for certain that it is going to work for you, because that's the plan of the divine. Yo, yo, yang, yang, tanum. So in whatever form of the divine you resort to, the bhakta is resorting to with a particular desire, and he seeks with Shraddha, with full faith. Know it for certain that it is I who does deliver the result of his worship, of his prayer. That the Shraddha I make that faith unwavering. I help him to have that unwavering faith so that he can at last attain the object of his desire. So this is very important. That's why Sri Ramakrishna, as we were saying, not to disturb others' faith. Karor bhav nashto korte nahi. In whatever stage he is, that let us say that whatever you are practicing, well and good, but have full faith in that. Don't doubt it. When Sri Narendranath went to Ramakrishna and told such and such faith is blind, Sri Ramakrishna immediately responded, can you tell me which faith has eyes? Faith means belief. All the faiths are blind. So, as such, that faith is not speaking of the truth, but it is an eye-opener. When you follow that process, it will take you to that revelation. It's just like the programming in your computer, the software programming. You are actually concerned about the result. Do anyone ask that how this programming is working, how it makes sense? No one is bothered. As long as I get the result, it is all okay. Most of the people don't know that software programming at all. Anything they have that knowledge. That whatever steps they have been asked to follow, they go to the result. The software is programmed in such a way it follows certain laws and takes you to the result. Similarly, the Lord has created this software programming in the form of nature. It does its own work. You just have faith. Resort to it. The steps which has been mentioned, follow it. You need not know the entire software programming. That the Lord knows. It is His plan. We just have to follow He is the software engineer. He knows the entire plan. That He will mention in the succeeding verses. That you don't know what all births you have gone through. I know everything. What it is going to come in the future, you know nothing. You neither know the past nor the future. I know everything. He is the software engineer of this entire creation. He knows. We just have to follow the steps and we go to the goal. So that's what he is mentioning. That just follow them and you will reach the goal. So what's required is that faith. So that's why Sri Ramakrishna used to say, Karur bhav nashto korte nahi. Don't disturb others' faith. Let him follow. He will evolve gradually. If that faith is something very, very basic, very coarse, through his practice, gradually he will evolve. Let him evolve in his own pace. Wherever he is, let him be there. Don't disturb his faith. And that's what Bhagavan is also saying. Let him resort to the prayer. Because it's I am there. Who are you to say that this faith is something very, very coarse? Your path is wrong. I am there to take care of him. Whatever his faith, I will deliver and allow him to evolve in his own pace. So that's what assurance he's giving in the 21st verse. And then in the 22nd verse, what he's saying? That's why sataya sraddhaya yuktas tasya radhanamihate labhate cha tata kaman mayaiva vihitan hitan. So possessed by that faith, sataya sraddhaya yukta, when you are possessed by that friend and he worships that form, and from it he attains his desires. This labhate cha tata kaman, he attains that desire which are in reality granted by me alone. It is I alone who grant that. So leave him. Just as Sri Ramakrishna says that God loves each and every creature. It is we who make all those distinctions. My faith is wrong, my faith is right, and all those. He loves everyone. He gives a very, very nice example. Suppose a person has 5 children. The elder ones call properly, Baba or Father or whatever it may be. The youngest one, he has just started picking up vocabularies, cannot speak properly. And he somehow says Pa or Ba, cannot say fully. Will the father be angry on him? He knows he is calling, he who is calling him. And he knows he also will evolve with time. He will learn the vocabularies and he will call him whatever in proper way it has to be called. He is never angry. He relates to the child in whatever way he is resorting to him. So let him grow in his own pace. Don't disturb. So in this world, we always feel that the same thing is going on in the name of religion. So much fight. We are saying that I am holier than thou. All this holier than thou attitude is the biggest viral infection in this world. That I have understood my religion. My faith is the only faith. This coronavirus is nothing compared to this. That is the biggest virus. You just see in this world with all these technological advancements, still we are fighting the tribal war. As a tribe, the way we were fighting the tribal war, the same tribal mentality is still working. We still continue with it with all those advancements. And that's the thing which we find here. He's saying, I'm there. I am there with all those basic. He will evolve. I am there to take care of you. You are not the master of the world. I have not given you the responsibility to take care of the world. It is I who am taking care. Just be bothered by your own evolution. Leave the world alone. It is not that without your care the world is going to destroy. You are here today, tomorrow you won't be here. The world continues. Just because of your ignorance you give so much importance to yourself as if without you nothing works. Keep aside. Just think of your own evolution. I am there to take care of the world. That's what he's saying. Kaman mayaiva vihitan. I am, even it's a very coarse, basic desire he's asking for. I am there to fulfill. Let him evolve. When a small child asks for toys and chocolates, you never say you have to read this big epics and books. I know he will evolve through that. These toys and chocolates, very good. The father will be providing that's all those things to him. And knows very well that he also will evolve. All these things will fall off. He will be asking for something much more subtler. So Lord is there to take care, and that's what he is indicating. But after saying all those things, then he will say, but yes, you should always be aware of the ultimate goal. Let him evolve, but let a person not get stuck where he is. So that's why in the 23rd verse, what he's saying, this section which is dealing with all the devotees who have desires, and then he will go to the Jnani. So before going to the aspect of the Jnani, in this verse he is indicating the distinction. The one who have the desires and one who has gone beyond the desire to be always devoted to the Lord in whatever form he may find manifestation. That he will discuss in the succeeding verses. In this verse, the 23rd verse, he is distinguishing between these two. What he is saying? Antavattu phalam tesham tat bhavatyalpamedhasam devan deva yajayanti mad bhakta yanti mamapi. But finite, antavattu, is the result gained by these men of small minds. Antavattu. We hear, you go to such and such Baba, pray him, or such and such spiritual person, He had cancer. Just by praying, the cancer has gone. So, and we all run. It's good. It's not harm. But have you ever heard that the Baba to whom you have prayed and your cancer is gone and has allowed him to live eternally? It's just a patchwork. Maybe it has cured you from the cancer, but some other reasons are waiting for you today or tomorrow to take you to the death. You cannot think of eternity here. You cannot think of prosperity eternally here. Antavattu phalantesha. However your plant may be granted, at last it has an end. It is not something which is going to give you eternity. So know it for certain. This is good. Okay, you are quite present, quite happy with that. Very good. But have in the back of your mind that idea that there is a state higher than that. I have to evolve to that. A small child is always playing with toys and games, but the father now and then will be saying, okay, you are playing with the child, but know it for certain that one day this all will fall off and you have to be something else. When he's saying that you have to be something else, it's not that then he's desisting him from his toys and he's giving. He's providing him the toys and the chocolates, but at the same time he's saying, for how many days? You have to evolve. So that's the thing Bhagavan is also saying. Yes, you are happy with the toys, quite good, but it is not the final thing. Antavattu. This all cannot give you that eternal result. With all your efforts, however you may endeavor for, your efforts are limited. So with these limited efforts, how can you have unlimited result? You can never. They all will come to end. Kshine punye swargalokam vishanti. That with lot of punya, after doing lot of meritorious act, we go to heaven with the idea as if it is something eternal. No. Kshine punye. When the effects, when the merits, results of the merits ends, it will end. And then again you have to fall down to this world of mortality, Matyalokam, Vishanti. What's the idea? That the so-called eternity, the idea of eternity which we have is very, very relative. It's not permanent eternity. Just to give an idea of relative eternity, if the dog somehow can relate to the human's lifespan, he will think we are like Brahma. He is just dying in 14 years. Means our lifespan is 5 times more than that. So from the dog's perspective, we are like as if eternal. The time, this eternity, the of idea which we have is a much longer lifespan, but it comes to an end. And when, as a human, do I feel my life is very long? Yes, compared to the dog is long, but we also feel one day I have to die. That same idea of dissatisfaction, that I cannot continue. From the dog's perspective, I may be something great, but as a perspective from the human being, I am still inflicted with the idea of transitoriness. And similarly, all the gods, all the heavenly beings, they are also inflicted by the idea of transitoriness. And from their standpoint, they find their time is limited. From our standpoint, it may appear to be something unlimited. It's not unlimited. Kshine punye matyalokam visa. Again, you have to come down. Antavattu. The results cannot give you eternity. So they are all finite. And these men of small minds, why small minds? Because they cannot see the reality, the truth as it is. They've clouded their vision by ignorance. So what they desire is good, but they're all limited. Antavattu phalam. So those who are after such desires, they pray to such smaller deities. And those who want me, they resort to this real spiritual practice. They desire me and me alone. That me, the one who is the eternal. What's the idea of me? Many will say it's Sri Krishna. It's good, it's not bad. But you will find in our scriptures, there are so many references. Whoever reaches that state, it's a state when you are relating to the spiritual dimension of existence. Then the me becomes not this physical body. It's a spiritual dimension of existence, and whoever reaches that state, from that state he speaks in the same language. If you in the Vedas you will find the Rishi Vak. He is saying that it is I who is finding expression as all the beings. There are so many such rishis, so many saints going to that. Even Buddha, when he went to the realization, what he said, my head, I felt as if my head is touching the Himalayas, my feet is touching the ocean, my hands are spreading and engulfing the entire universe. What it speaks of, the idea of limited individuality falls off. You see yourself as the entirety, that non-dual existence. It happens with anyone who reaches that state. And from that state, when you say, from me the creation has emanated, it is no more you, that person of that particular form. From the spiritual dimension you are speaking. Bhagavan Krishna is also speaking from that dimension. When he's saying that the one who resorts to me gets me, actually speaking of the spiritual dimension which is within all of us. When you are resorting to that beyond this physical realm, the spiritual dimension which has as such no end. It is not ephemeral. It is something eternal. It was, it is, it will be. And it is in the constant present without any transformation. And it is have no need. It is ever fulfilled. When I resort to that, I do get that. All the small desires falls off. Just to end today's class, I will just indicate one of the words of Sri Ramakrishna. Very nicely is to say. Does anyone digs a well on the bank of a river? So that's the thing. When we are near the source of water, all these small desires are like the digging well on the bank of the river. It is something, a childish act, a foolish act. So when we evolve, we then realize we were just merely trying to dig well on the bank of the river. The source is there. Why to dig a well here? And then all these desires falls off. And then we resort to the spiritual dimension of existence, and to be always in association with that, or to be in one with that, becomes our only goal. So with this, we stop our discussion today. We'll continue with the success. This chapter has 30 verses. So another 7 verses are remaining. So we will continue with that. The concept of avatar, that will come. So that in the succeeding verses. So we will study those verses again in the next class. So with this, we stop our discussion today. Thank you all. Namaskar.